You're listening to the Journey podcast. How can pulsed electromagnetic field therapy help with mental and physical well-being? Find out more in today's episode. Hi, I'm Petra Brunbauer, and with decades of experience with sadness, pain, anxiety, and stress, I finally figured out how to leave all that behind. And this podcast shows you how to break free permanently so you can reclaim your sanity and find the self-esteem and energy to go after the life you desire. With real talk about mental health, holistic healing, and the tough journey of coming out the other end. This is the Journey Podcast. Welcome to today's episode. The earth and everything on it has a vibration or frequency. And not only does the earth vibrate, our bodies resonate as well. Muscles, bones, nerves, everything has a frequency and can be affected by vibrations around us. Pulsed electromagnetic field therapy is based on frequencies and magnetic fields. It is used to realign our body's frequencies to a healthy range. Our vibrations can be disturbed by electronic devices and environmental factors around us. This can affect our well-being and health in a negative way. A PEMF device or mat produces a magnetic field that causes currents to flood into nearby tissues. This charges our cells and helps them function at an optimal level. The benefits can include better supply of oxygen and nutrients, more efficient waste removal, bone repair, healing, and much more. The effects of PEMF have been studied extensively and the results have been impressive. Adrian Armstrong has been caring for people for over 35 years as a massage practitioner, Tai Chi and Qigong teacher, and brain balancing alignment specialist. In August of 2015, after a car accident and shoulder injury, he discovered pulsed electromagnetic field therapy mats and started using one for himself and his massage clients. The results Adrian felt and witnessed in others were so remarkable that educating people on the benefits of using PEMF became his main passion. In over 35 years of helping people with their health issues, he had never seen anything that consistently got amazing results for everyone who used it regularly, no matter what the issue. There's truly nothing Adrian could do for your life that would support it more than to help you include daily PEMF therapy into your world. He has now helped hundreds of people on their journey to amazing health benefits. Adrian loves giving talks on PEMF, what it is, how and why it works, and what it can do for you. Adrian is constantly amazed at how few people have even heard of PEMF and how beneficial and essential they are to life. Let's meet Adrian Armstrong. Hi, Adrian. It's so great to have you on the podcast. I've been looking forward to getting to chat with you because I'm completely new to pulsed electromagnetic fields therapy, and I'm hoping this will be a really interesting topic for our listeners today. Welcome to the podcast.
Thanks, Petra. It's a pleasure to be here. Yeah, I hope your listeners get some benefit out of it.
Yes, absolutely. And do you want to maybe share a little bit about yourself, your story, and your background?
Sure, yeah. I've been working with the pulsed electromagnetic field technology for about 7 years now. And before that, I was doing massage for 35 years. And I also taught Tai Chi, and I did brain balancing alignments. And kind of all that healing work kind of came out of a back injury that I had. I had a really chronic bad back for 10 to 15 years where I was very limited in what I was able to do. And then I started doing Tai Chi, and out of that came more function in my body. And then I started massaging my Tai Chi students. So it kind of all grew from there. And then a little bit later on from that, my whole family ended up with cancer. So I've done a lot of deep dive into disease conditions and what causes those and how to not go down that pathway myself. So I've been on a self-healing journey for 35 years plus. Yeah.
Wow. That sounds very intense, what happened with your family and also the journey that followed for you. And I'm guessing that you found the pulsed electromagnetic fields therapy along the way then as you were going through that journey?
Yeah, it was remarkable. When I first found out about it, I'd actually heard about it before I tried it, but I got into a car accident that left me severely out of alignment and in a lot of pain. And the person, one of my students from doing Tai Chi and from the brain balancing alignments, he had actually learned how to do the alignment because it worked so well for him. So normally, if I was ever in pain, I would go to him, but he was out of town for 3 weeks. And I had a friend that had one of these mats, and he said, "Come on over and lay on my magic mat." So I went over and quite crooked, quite in pain. And 20 minutes later, it was like the accident never even happened. That kind of woke me up to the potential benefits of it. And then I got one myself and I started using it with all my massage clients. And I used to, before a massage, I would always align them with the brain balancing alignment I did. But once I got the mat, I just laid them on the mat before the massage, and their body structurally came into alignment without me touching them in 10 minutes. So a lot of my massage clients, actually most of them, ended up buying their own mats. And then it kind of just took on a life of its own and became a really big passion for me because in 40 years of helping people with their aches and pains, I'd never seen anything that got these kind of results with absolutely everybody, no matter what their condition was.
Mhm. Wow, that sounds very interesting. And I'm sure that you've piqued the curiosity of our listeners now. So let's talk a little bit about what exactly pulsed electromagnetic fields therapy is and how does it work? What does it do?
Okay, so the products I use, there's a lot of different companies that make PEMF devices, and I think I found what I feel is the best ones out there. But it's basically a full body mat, the same size of a yoga mat. So it's 6 feet long and 2 feet wide. And it's got 6 copper coils that create a magnetic field to replicate the Earth's magnetic field. So before we electrified the planet, there were only Earth-based frequencies, and we are meant to be in resonance and in harmony with those frequencies. But especially in the last 20 years, we're all surrounded by these wireless frequencies now that vibrate at such a high rate that we get affected by them, and it prevents our bodies from healing properly. So when you lay on the mat, the magnetic field passes through your entire body and it affects every single cell in your body, and it charges up your cells because our cells are actually batteries. So it's giving your cells actual real ATP. It creates ATP and increases, which is adenosine triphosphate. That's the energy that's created in your mitochondria. And it also increases the transmembrane potential, which is the voltage in your cells. So it's giving your cells the energy they need to do the work they want to do, because your body's always trying to heal itself and bring itself into balance. And then in addition to charging up your cellular battery, it's actually creating resonance. It's kind of like if I hit a tuning fork and hold up a second one, the second one resonates with the first one. And that's how we're like the second tuning fork. And in the environments that we live in, we end up resonating at frequencies that are much too high for us to heal. So the Earth-based frequencies, the Earth's magnetic field is 0 to 30 hertz, and a hertz is 1 cycle per second. So that's pretty low and slow. But if you hear 2.4 gigahertz, like your router or your microwave oven, that's 2.4 billion cycles per second. So everywhere we go now, even when you're hiking in the woods or laying on the beach, you probably still have a cell phone signal. So we're being bombarded with these artificial, unnatural frequencies that our bodies don't know how to resonate with. So when you give your body the correct information field, all your cells begin to resonate with that field, and it puts them into a biological window. There's a scientifically proven biological window within which your cells can heal optimally.
Wow, that is fascinating. And since you just mentioned scientific studies, is the PEMF therapy backed by science as well? Are there any studies about that in particular?
Yeah, absolutely. If you go to PubMed, there's thousands. There's probably 20,000 studies on PEMF and probably a couple of thousand double-blind studies. They've been doing studies since the 50s, really. It's a technology that's been around for quite a while. Our company has actually been around 26 years, but I'm always surprised that most people have never even heard of it, let alone experienced it or tried it.
Yeah, absolutely. That's like myself as well. I never heard of it before I started speaking with you. So that is quite surprising for the fact that it's been around for so long.
Yeah, we're electrical beings, and like they know that when they diagnose you in the hospitals, they'll take EEGs or EKGs or MRIs, which is another form of magnetic frequency. So they use frequencies in a diagnostic sense to know that there's something wrong, but they don't use frequencies to correct those imbalances. So that's where PEMF comes in. And because it works on every single cell in your body, unlike even other forms of energy medicine like laser or ultrasound or far infrared, they all have a depth of penetration into the body, but your body doesn't slow down the magnetic field. It passes right through your entire body as if your body's not even there.
Oh. And you spoke a little bit about mats before. And can you explain a bit about what kind of forms or devices this PMF comes in? And what would be important to look for if you were thinking about getting yourself one of these PAMF devices?
Well, for home use, it's really best to have a whole body mat, like a full body mat, so that you can do your entire body at the same time. Ours is the only, and there's a few important things to look for. Waveform is the carrier of the information. So NASA actually did a 4-year, $3.5 million study in the 70s, because when they started sending astronauts into space beyond the Earth's magnetic field, they would get sick really fast and come back with immune problems and osteoporosis. And so they did this study to realize that they needed to replicate those frequencies when they were sending people beyond the Earth's magnetic field. So with our full body mat, we actually have what is known as a triple sawtooth wave, which most closely resembles the natural waveform that you would see on an EKG. When you look at a brainwave monitor or a heart monitor, you see kind of the shape of the squiggly lines that go across the screen. And we've all seen those on TV shows or in real life in the hospital. So a triple sawtooth wave is very closely resembling that. So it's the most natural waveform for our body. But also in the NASA study, they showed that for local issues, a square wave is one of the most effective for healing the cells faster and regenerating tissue faster. So in addition to the full body mat, we also have local applicators. So let's say you had a bad knee or a bad elbows, or you want to have a smaller pad that can fit and give you a good healing reaction in a localized area. So we have a full body mat with a triple sawtooth wave. And then the local applicators, we have a back pad that's 2 feet by 1 foot and a spot pad, which is 2 round discs that would say fit on either side of your knee or your foot or your hand or your wrist or your elbow. So really good for keeping your joints in good condition, because joints are something as we age that is one of the first things that gives people trouble.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned a little bit about the waveforms, and what's the difference between waveforms and frequencies?
So the waveform is the carrier of the information, and the frequency is the information. So when I was talking before about the Earth-based frequencies being 0 to 30 hertz, and that's where ideally you want your body to be resonating at instead of 2.4 billion hertz, right? So those are the frequencies. It's kind of like on your radio dial, you've got 101.5 FM. That's the frequency. The waveform is a radio wave in that case. And then the other thing that you have in addition to the frequency is the intensity, or in a case of your radio, it would be your volume. So you want to have the right frequencies delivered through those waveforms. So you either have the triple sawtooth or the square wave, and then you're delivering those frequency packages on those waveforms. And then you want to also be able to control the intensity, because some people are extremely sensitive. Some people who can't even can't use a cell phone, or they can't be near a router, or, I know people that have to turn off their electrical power in their bedroom at night so they sleep better. So those are the 3 main things: is the waveform that carries the information. You want the right frequency range in the 0 to 30 hertz range as the actual information. And then you want to control how loud or how strong the intensity is. So you want it to be able to go to super sensitive, and you also want it to be able to create a strong enough healing reaction. If it's a new injury, say you broke your leg or you sprained your ankle, That's something that would be more acute. Most people are dealing with chronic stuff, chronic pain, chronic diseases, things that they've had for a long time. So there you're going to use lower frequencies at a longer period of time. But if you broke your leg, you'd want to use a higher intensity or a higher volume, say, stronger magnetic field for a shorter period of time. What that'll do is it'll energize your cells more, but it creates a stronger or faster healing reaction.
Okay, that makes sense. And you've mentioned a few different things that you can use the PEMF for. So I'm wondering, can you also use it to improve your mental well-being, for example, to help with feeling anxious or feeling stressed out and things like that?
Absolutely. Yeah. So because it affects every cell, it's, and a lot of things, sometimes when you're dealing with the brain, it's hard to get things past the blood-brain barrier. If you're taking supplements or anything like that, you want to be able to affect all the cells in the brain and improve the circulation in the brain. So it definitely helps with mood and anxiety and depression. And there's studies that show that it does that as well. It actually makes your cells happy. That's part of the issue when people are anxious or depressed or have chronic illnesses, as their emotional bodies and our physical bodies are tied together. So if you feel bad physically, you're going to feel bad emotionally, and vice versa. If you feel bad emotionally, you're going to feel bad physically. But when you can actually make the cells actually happy individually, your cells are happier because they're full of energy and they've got what they need to do their work, then you naturally become happier as well. It definitely helps in those areas as well. And it's increasing your nitrous oxide. It increases circulation and microcirculation, which is really important for the brain. Increases oxygenation, actually makes you alkaline pretty much right away. Alkalinity is a measure of the voltage, the negative charge on your cell wall. So, and it increases stem cell production as well. So every single cell in your body gets put into that resonant frequency where they can actually heal, but it actually makes all your cells happier. So it really does help with emotional issues and things like depression and anxiety. I actually haven't seen anything that it hasn't helped. It would be impossible to sit on it every day or lay on it every day and not have it change your body. So, but it's a very subtle feeling. Not everybody actually notices a physical sensation when they're on it, but it's doing so much in the body, and the body knows what to do with it. Once your cells have the energy, they know what they're meant to do. And cells are all differentiated, so they, liver cells do one thing and heart cells do something else. And that's one of the reasons the voltage and the energy of our cells, being tired or having fatigue or saying I have no energy, is a very common complaint. And that's actually when diseases start to show up. People with healthy high cellular voltage aren't sick. Chronic diseases start to show up as your voltage starts to drop. And say, for example, cancer is at a very low voltage. So a healthy cell has a voltage of minus 70 millivolts. The diseases start to show up when it starts to hit 50, 40, 30. Cancer is typically around minus 20 millivolts. But your heart has the biggest electromagnetic field of any part of your body. It's working all the time, and it has the strongest electromagnetic charge. And that's a reason why you don't ever really hear of heart cancer as a primary cancer. We get cancer in all different parts of the body, but you won't hear of heart cancer as a primary cancer because your heart kind of literally has too much energy to get cancer. So keeping your cellular voltage up there is so critical for every function in your body and your immune system. And in the last few years, we've found out how important it is to have a strong immune system. And so you want to keep your body working optimally, having everything it needs to do. The only important thing when you're using PEMF is that you're well hydrated, because really we're mostly water, and water has memory. And that's one of the other issues with trauma and PTSD and anxiety and depression, is that those traumas and negative emotions are actually stored in the water cells of your body. Your water has memory and it holds on to things. So as your cells start to get energized, they start to let go of not only the toxins in there, it might be heavy metals or just pesticides or things that you've consumed and absorbed into your body that aren't good for you. Your body knows what it needs to get rid of. It knows what's natural to it and what's not. But quite often it doesn't have enough energy to cleanse properly. And our cleansing channels get plugged up. So we end up being very toxic. And really, that's what cancer is. It's a lot of toxicity stored in little garbage cans that we call tumors in your body, right? So as your body gets energized and the cells can release, not only will they release toxins like that and take in the good nutrients and flush out the bad, but it'll also help let go of those negative emotions and traumas that have been stored in your body from experiences in the past.
That is very, very interesting indeed. And how much time do you have to spend on a mat every day for this to start helping?
Well, ideally, I mean, I have people that just go into clinics and do it, once a week kind of thing, and they get good results as well. But ideally, if you have one at home, to keep your cells in that vibration and that frequency 24 hours a day, you want to be on it at least twice a day for a minimum of, say, 10 minutes at a time, each one. So if you were in a real hurry and you had such a busy life that you couldn't sit down for more than 10 minutes, then that would be the minimum. When I got mine, I didn't want to just maintain. So I experimented, and I found that the more I used it, the better I felt. So I would probably use the full body mat 3 to 4 times a day. I actually put one under my mattress so it goes on for 24 minutes as I'm falling asleep on the sleep mode with very low, like 0.5 hertz frequencies to get my brain into delta theta mode at night so it sleeps better. And then it has a function where it comes on like an alarm clock in the morning automatically. So I don't even have to wake up to turn it on. It comes on automatically at the time I have it set for. And that gives it, so those 2 sessions I get while I'm in bed as I'm falling asleep and as I'm waking up. But I also have it built into other pieces of furniture. So if I'm sitting in a chair, I can just reach over and turn the back pad on and give myself therapy, say, while I'm watching a movie or reading a book or working on my radioactive iPad and iPhones and laptops. And we're all surrounded by that technology these days, and we're not going to give it up. So I do my best to protect myself when I'm using it by creating a little bubble of healthy frequencies that protect me from the negative stuff.
Mm-hmm. So it really is doable, even if you have a very busy lifestyle, because you could do it, like you said, when you go into bed, before you wake up. You could even put it in, say, if you're working online, you could put it in the chair that you work in. So there definitely is ways to start integrating that into your life, even if you're busy.
Absolutely. And our least expensive model is actually powered by an Android tablet that comes with it. So once you charge your tablet, you don't actually even need to be plugged into the wall. So I used to use it on long drives, but if you had to commute to work, you could use it on the car on the way to work, at the back pad on your seat. You could take it into the office with you and put it on your computer chair while you're sitting at work all day under the fluorescent lights and wireless routers and computers all over the place. Most work environments aren't very healthy. So there's lots of ways of fitting it into your world so that it's not taking up too much extra time. You just incorporate it and turn it on while you're doing other things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's fantastic. And are there any contraindications to using this technology?
There's 3 legal ones, but they're more legal risks than they are actual risks. So one is pregnancy, which is always a contraindication because they don't do tests on pregnant women. But we've had lots of women who've used it throughout their entire pregnancy and to wonderful effects. The official position on babies is 2 weeks old. So it's a very safe technology. The second one is epilepsy. And again, I've had friends I put on that were epileptic and they loved it. But statistically, someone might have a seizure during a session, which could become a legal problem. So again, it's more a legal contraindication than an actual risk. And then the third one is pacemakers or electronic implants. So, and the newer pacemakers, we've done studies actually with our actual mats that show any of the pacemakers that are bipolar, which is pretty much everything since the year 2000 to 2005. So all the newer pacemakers are actually perfectly safe, but it's still a legal contraindication. But things like cochlear implants, or if you had maybe an insulin pump, you would maybe want to check with your doctor and just use it on the lower settings. But really, say with a pacemaker, you have more chance of interfering with it using a blow dryer than you do by using our mat. And you don't get warnings on your blow dryer not to use it if you have a pacemaker. So it's actually one of the safest technologies there is for people's health. It doesn't have side effects. Perhaps if you're on medication, you're going to want to watch your dosages because it does make things absorb more efficiently into your body as the cells open up and take things in better. So, but a lot of people will get off their, pain meds and things. So pain is probably the main reason people get it. Pain issues, sleep issues, disease issues, or anxiety, depression, burnout is huge, right? So people with chronic fatigue or fibromyalgia, it's actually like magic for those kind of things.
And where can our listeners get more information if they want to know a little bit more about PEMF, or they want to maybe ask some questions or find out what the different devices are that are available? Where can they find more information?
Well, my website has a lot of information on it. It's got a lot of scientific research and tons of information, and people can actually reach out for me for a free consultation as well if they just want to have a no pressure talk and ask questions or anything like that. And my website is PEMF Solution, no S on the end, just PEMFsolution.com. Yeah, I'm happy to answer any questions that people have. I just love to help people understand it better. And there's, you can Google it as well and find out information there. There's lots of scientific studies. If someone went to PubMed and typed in PubMed and typed in PEMF and arthritis, diabetes, cancer, you name it, they'll probably find studies there that show positive results.
Great. And we will be linking to Adrian's information in the show notes as well. So be sure to check that out on the links on how to get in touch with him directly. And this has been another incredible episode. And I hope our listeners have enjoyed this journey into PEMF therapy as much as I have. Like I said, I had never heard of it before, so this was extremely interesting. It has been fantastic chatting with you on the podcast, Adrian. Thank you so much for your time today.
Oh, you're welcome. It's been my pleasure. It was wonderful to meet you, and so glad we got to spend the time together here.
Yes, I am too. Thank you so much, and take care.
Yeah, you too.
Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to listen in. If you enjoy the Journey podcast, please subscribe, share on social media, and leave us a review. And be sure to get your copy of our brand new ebook called Break Free. Sending you love and courage, and see you next week. Until then, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and the Journey blog.